Hello, and welcome to Soul and Spectrum. Today, we're diving into a topic that's uncomfortable, but essential. We're going to talk about the brutal truths of life, the ones we often push to the back of our minds because they're too difficult to face. But facing them is what gives us clarity, purpose, and the power to live more authentically. So, let's begin. Here are 20 brutal truths about life no one wants to admit. Let's get the biggest one out of the way first. This isn't meant to be morbid, it's meant to be liberating. We live as if we have an infinite amount of time. We postpone our dreams, delay difficult conversations, and tell ourselves someday. But the brutal truth is, someday is not a day on the calendar. This reality is the ultimate deadline, and recognizing it is the most powerful motivator to stop living on autopilot and start making your life count today. This connects directly to the first point. Every minute you spend scrolling mindlessly, staying in a job you hate, or nurturing a grudge is a minute you have just spent a non-refundable piece of your life. We often think we can make up for lost time, but you can't. You can only change what you do with the time you have left. The question you have to ask yourself is what I'm doing right now worthy of a piece of my life? From a very young age, we're taught the concept of fairness, but life doesn't play by those rules. Good people get sick. Hard work doesn't always pay off. Terrible people sometimes prosper. Waiting for the universe to suddenly become fair is a recipe for bitterness and inaction. The real power comes from accepting this inherent unfairness. It's not about giving up. It's about taking full responsibility for playing the hand you were dealt as skillfully as you can. This is a classic Stoic and Buddhist teaching for a reason. Pain, physical, emotional. The pain of loss and failure is a natural part of the human experience. You cannot avoid it, but suffering is different. Suffering is the story we tell ourselves about the pain. It's the why me, the rumination, the refusal to accept what is. The pain of a breakup is inevitable. The suffering of stalking their social media for years, wondering what you did wrong that is a choice. You can learn to feel the pain without subscribing to the suffering. This one is a liberation from social anxiety. That embarrassing thing you said at the meeting last week, the outfit you were worried about, chances are everyone else has forgotten it because they're too busy worrying about what you were thinking about them. We are the main characters in our own movies, but we're just side characters, at best, in everyone else's. This truth frees you from the prison of other people's opinions. They simply don't have one because they're too focused on themselves. This isn't a sign that people are evil or selfish, it's just human nature. Think about your own internal monologue. It's dominated by your own worries, your dreams, your problems. Everyone else is living the exact same way. Your heartbreaks, your triumphs, your anxieties. They are the background noise in other people's lives. Once you accept this, you stop expecting others to prioritize you, and you start valuing the rare, beautiful people who genuinely do even more. And more importantly, you shouldn't try. The desire to be universally liked is a trap. It forces you to become a watered-down, inoffensive version of yourself. It makes you a people pleaser, sacrificing your own needs and opinions. The brutal truth is that your values, your success, or simply your presence will inevitably rub someone the wrong way. And that is a sign that you are being authentic. Your energy is better spent on being someone you like, and the right people will gravitate towards that. This is a hard pill to swallow. Look at the world. How much of our economy, our social media, and even our personal goals are fueled not by a pure desire for growth, but by the fear of being left behind, the need to keep up with others, to have what they have, to be who they are. Love connects and builds, but jealousy and envy are often the silent engines of ambition, consumerism, and even sabotage. Recognizing this motive in ourselves and others reveals the true nature of many of our struggles. We know our own intentions, our struggles, our context. We give ourselves the benefit of the doubt. I was tired. I didn't mean it. I'm doing my best. But when someone else cuts us off in traffic, they're a jerk. When a coworker makes a mistake, they're incompetent. This is called the fundamental attribution error. We attribute other people's actions to their character, but our own to our circumstances. Catching yourself in this act of unfair judgment is a massive step toward compassion. This is perhaps one of the most painful truths. We put our loved ones on pedestals, expecting them to be perfect, to always be there, to never let us down. But they are human. They have their own flaws, their own limitations, and their own battles. They will forget an important date, say the wrong thing, or fail to support you in the way you need. Holding them to an impossible standard is a recipe for resentment. The key is not to expect less of them, but to love them for who they are, not who you want them to be. Forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. This is the ultimate call to self-reliance. As children, we're conditioned to believe that someone, a parent, a teacher, a hero, a soulmate will swoop in and fix our problems and make our lives perfect. The brutal truth is that hero doesn't exist. You are the one you've been waiting for. It's your responsibility to save yourself, to build the life you want, and to solve your own problems. Waiting for a rescue is a form of self-imposed prison. The key was in your pocket all along. We love the simple equation, hard work equals success. But the universe doesn't do simple math. You can work harder than anyone, pour your soul into a project, and still fail. Luck, timing, connections, and 1,000 other variables play a role. So why work hard at all? Because hard work is the price of admission. It's the ticket that gives you a chance to win. It's not a guarantee, but without it, your chances are virtually zero. Success feels good, but it often just reinforces what you already know. Failure, on the other hand, is a brutal but brilliant teacher. It strips away ego, reveals your weaknesses, and forces you to adapt. Every scar is a lesson in what doesn't work, bringing you one step closer to what does. Don't romanticize failure, but don't run from it. The master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. Let's get honest. I don't have time often means I'm afraid it won't be worth my time. I'm not ready means I'm afraid I'll fail. We dress our fear up in logical clothing and call it an excuse. Sounds reasonable, but it's a cage. The next time you hear an excuse leave your lips, interrogate it. Ask yourself, what am I truly afraid of here? You'll find that 90% of the barriers in your life are built from fear, not fact. Motivation is a fickle friend. It comes and goes like the weather. If you only work on your goals when you feel motivated, you will fail. Discipline, however, is the engine. Discipline is showing up when you're tired. It's writing the page when you have writer's block. It's going to the gym when you'd rather stay on the couch. Motivation is the feeling. Discipline is the action. You can't control your feelings, but you can always control your actions. Build systems, not on motivation. Some people are in your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime, and you rarely know which it is until it's over. People grow apart. Paths diverge. Sometimes, love isn't enough to bridge the gap of changing values or life goals. Clinging to a connection that has run its course only causes more pain. The beauty is not in the perpetual presence, but in the impact they had while they were there. Cherish the memories, but don't chain yourself to a ghost. This is a cold, transactional truth about human dynamics. whether in friendships, business, or romance. The person with less investment holds the leverage. It's not fair, it's not pretty, but it's often true. This isn't a call to become cold and calculating, but a warning to protect your energy. The most empowering thing you can do is to care deeply, but never lose yourself so completely that your worth becomes dependent on their presence. We spend so much time waiting for an apology, waiting for an explanation, waiting for that one last conversation that will magically make the pain disappear. But that's a fantasy. The other person may never give you what you're looking for. They might be unable or unwilling. True closure is an internal decision. It's the moment you choose to accept the unanswered questions, forgive for your own peace, and decide that your own healing is more important than their explanation. We talk about love as a balm, a beautiful, gentle thing, but love has teeth. To love someone is to hand them a piece of your soul and trust them not to crush it. It makes you vulnerable to a pain that is uniquely profound, the pain of betrayal, of loss, of indifference. The same force that can lift you to the highest highs is capable of plunging you into the deepest lows. This isn't a reason to avoid love, but to respect its awesome, terrifying power. And this is the ultimate test of resilience. This is where all the other truths lead. The acceptance of mortality, the unfairness of life, the pain of disappointment, it all culminates in this one brutal act of letting go. Your heart will feel like it's breaking in two. You will be convinced that a part of you has died with them, but you will survive. You will wake up, you will breathe, and one day you will realize that you are not just surviving, you are living again. And you will be wiser, stronger, and more complete for having loved and lost than for never having loved at all. These 20 truths are brutal. They are uncomfortable. But in facing them, we strip away the illusions. We stop waiting for a fairy tale and start building a reality, a strong, resilient, and authentic reality. Life is not about avoiding the storm, but about learning to dance in the rain. It's about finding the strength within yourself that you never knew you had. Thank you for having the courage to watch this. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. This is Soul and Spectrum. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.